Well, Julie, thank you so much for being here with me on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I'm really glad that you're here. We're going to talk about client attraction, and I'm really excited to see what it is that you're going to offer the audience today. Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, Henriette. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Julie from Do Business Like a Woman, and I help female entrepreneurs to get all the high-paying clients they need, which at the moment is so important because the online world is so busy, isn't it?
Yes, it is, indeed. I find it very, how can I say, very motivating to see other female entrepreneurs like you out there, because I also am a strategic business coach working with clients in order to help them attract clients. But everybody is so unique, even though we're kind of like doing the similar things, but our stories are so unique. And you've got your own unique story, you've got your own unique journey. Talk to us a little bit about your journey, where that started. When was that point where you decided, I'm going to go and do this, make this my business? And how has that evolved to where you are now?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, just to say, I completely agree with you that there are so many of us doing the same thing, but actually the way that we do it is so very different. And even our energy and our energy signature, somebody who will be attracted to me will not be attracted to you, and vice versa. Someone will be really attracted to your energy and not to mine. So, although you and I both do client attraction, we have absolutely our own kind of unique target audience. And the fact that it's getting busier online also means that there are more clients coming online as well, and more people that need services. So I firmly believe that although it's saturated and it's busy, if we learn to position ourselves and we have a really unique message, we absolutely can stand out and work with the people we're supposed to support. And so it's just a learning curve, this whole business thing and learning how to do that. So I just wanted to say that first before I kind of share with you a bit of my story.
Yeah, no, thank you. I completely agree with what you said. And I think a lot of people don't quite understand that concept quite yet. So I'm glad you're bringing it up as well, so people can see that, that's how we operate. That's business, but that's also how you attract clients, by just being you, being authentic. And it's about what you put out there.
Oh my gosh, it so is. And I'm going to share some steps later to help the listeners and the viewers to, attract clients. And the first one is actually landing your own power. So it's all about being yourself. So absolutely agree with that 100%. And so we'll come back to that. But yes, I'll share with you how I first got into this. It was actually a number of years ago. I was about 6 or 7 years ago now. I was looking to go traveling, and I was a struggling fitness instructor at the time, so teaching lots of classes but really not earning very good money at all. And I needed something I could do, some work I could do online while I was traveling. So of course I started typing into Google, make money online, and you can imagine where that took me, down a rabbit hole of, scams and different things. And some of them were legit, but I was doing all kinds of things to try and learn how to make money online, and really banging my head against a brick wall in many ways. But I did learn a lot of stuff. I learned how to create a WordPress site, and learned a lot of the tech, and started delving into marketing and things like that. And then I came across a very charismatic American coach who said, you can, have an online business, you can make loads of money, you can travel and have this amazing lifestyle. And of course I was like, yes, that's it, that's what I want. And so invested in her, significant investment into her program, which I'd never done before in my life. That was just a quantum leap for me. That was not something that was even in my mentality or my field at the time. And I went over to the States and trained with her, and, became a business coach, launched my business in good faith, was traveling at that point with my husband at the time. So we were in Italy and in France, and it was great. Launched the business, got a few high-end clients, and then nothing. So then some months of just like no clients at all. And I'd invested all of our savings that we saved to go traveling into the program, saying to my husband, it's all right, I'll make the money back. And I kind of did, but then it all, you know, dried up and it became hard. And anyway, we decided to come back to the UK so that he could work. He was a chef. The long and short of it is, personally, I was not ready inside of myself for that level of growth. And so, of course, the business didn't really take off the way that I'd hoped it would. I ended up going through a divorce and having a really, really hard time. Actually ended up back in my parents' spare bedroom, tiny spare bedroom, in my 30s, no money, £24,000 worth of debt. It was not a good time, and going through this divorce. And so that was like really my low point, my rock bottom. And I did get a job for a while. But once you've been self-employed, it's very, very hard to go back and be an employee. And I was not a good employee. So I knew that I had to get back and make this business work somehow. So I never gave up. I actually relaunched again about 4 years ago, initially as a VA, interestingly, because for me, my confidence had been knocked a little bit. And I knew I had skills, marketing skills, but I wasn't ready to coach. So initially as a VA, very quickly to an online business manager, charging more. And actually within a couple of months, I had a full schedule of clients. And I was earning double through my business what I was earning through my job. So that was all I needed to take the leap again. And thankfully this time it was a lot better. I mean, still the entrepreneurial roller coaster, every entrepreneur knows that, but I have had a full schedule of clients ever since. That was 4 years ago. I then transitioned back into the coaching and mentoring, and now help other women to get clients as well.
I love your story, but in so many ways, apart from the fact that it's taken you on that journey, how you felt that, and at that point that when you came back and you went through a low in your life, you had to go and obviously get that self-development process, go through that process again in order to build your confidence. But then the fact that I really like what you're sharing about, you know, your story is that you didn't give up. And I think that's so important. It's all about keeping consistent, but not giving up and just pushing through. And thank you so much for sharing that as well, because I think a lot of other women listening to this might have had similar experiences, and this might just be the motivation they needed in order to, you know, keep on moving forward and building on that.
I hope so. If my story can inspire one person, you know, I think that's amazing, because it really is just don't give up if it is your dream, if it's what you're supposed to do. And I know we kind of hear that all the time and it can feel a bit cliche, but the thing is to just embody it, you know, inside of you. You have to, I describe it, for me, it's like steel in my belly. It's kind of a knowing that this is what I'm going to do, and you know, however long it takes. And I will say I did keep myself stuck for a bit through kind of lack of self-belief, and also through not investing in a mentor at the beginning when I relaunched, because I thought, oh, you know, I'm not going to make those investments again. Like, I know how to do it. I'll do it myself. And of course, kept myself stuck for longer. Well, not stuck because I was earning money and but you know, I kept myself from up leveling as quickly as I could have done. So, you know, I would certainly recommend not holding back for anyone who's kind of going through that. And that mentality has certainly changed for me. So that's been a big learning for me. But yeah, just don't give up on your dream. You know, it can totally happen for you. I had to do some personal development work, like you said. I really had to connect in with myself and who I am. But because before that, I think I was really trying to copy my coach at the time, and copy, sort of snip and grab at what I saw other people out there doing. And that kind of works, but it's like pushing a boulder up a hill, and the kind of foundations in me weren't there. And so that's why, you know, when I share the steps with your people a bit later, the first one is landing in your own power. You know, that has to come first. We have to have that sense of connection of who we are and be guided. I mean, I'm a spiritual person, so I talk about spirit, and but you know, whatever a person believes in, just that they're being guided and that they can trust that.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say that, you know, when you sign up for entrepreneurship, yes, you are signing up to run a business, and you're signing up to make a success, but you are signing up for a lot of self-development. And I think that's where the biggest learning curve is. It is not just so much about running a business and what to do, but it's a self-development that you're going through as an individual, because what you are going through, you then investing back into your business. And that's why we as coaches as well say to people, you know, get mentors, get coaches who you are aligned with, who you feel has that same kind of energy that can uplift you and help you take from where you are now to where you want to be. Because it is about the self-development, and it is about a daily habit of just going through those stages of then fulfilling yourself and then putting that back into your business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, here, that's so true, because it's absolutely about just personal development, and, you know, mindset has to come first. Really, because it is those kind of habits. And yes, there's like a strategical part to the business, but if you can do all the strategical part right, and if you don't have the inner game right, it doesn't work. And that's where so many people are. They're like, just give me the strategies and just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And it's like, no, you have to do the inner work too. Yeah. And that just keeps going. You know, it's like another level, another devil. So
yeah. No, oh my gosh. And I think that segues very nicely into what we're going to talk about today, because we're talking about client attraction. And this is a passionate topic of mine as well. But I'm really intrigued to hear you talk about it, because at the end of the day, for any service-based business, you need to think about how you're attracting clients. And that's what Julie is going to talk about here today. There's no magic formula to it. It is just all starting with who you are and what your business is obviously offering. But Julie, why don't I hand over to you and you can just talk it through?
Yeah, sure. So there is no magic formula. You're right. I was saying this to a client the other day. There's no magic kind of bullet or pill. And that said, you know, I do have a formula that I take people through, and it's called the Thrive Formula. And you know, so I'm going to talk about the steps to that shortly. But what I wanted to just speak about first, and actually, no, let me go through the steps, and then I think the other points will come out, you know, as we're going through those steps.
Absolutely.
So the first step, you know, as I've said a couple of times, is really connecting with yourself, landing in your own power. And so this has come from me seeing in my own life, and also with the clients I support, that if this piece is missing, they are going to struggle. So they can be doing all the kind of strategies and on the surface, they're doing everything right. And there's maybe them doing that, and there's another person at the same level doing the same actions, but one is successful and one isn't. And it's like, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is this piece. And I've seen women struggle for years and years and years, kind of doing all the marketing. They're out there on social media, they're doing all the posting, they're sending emails, and it's not landing. And then they take a step back, and I know we're all on our own journey, so it's hard to say exactly what it is, but a great coach can support you to really go there and to bring this out of you. But they take a step back and they really connect in with who they are and the message that they're supposed to bring forth. You know, I speak about Dharma, so, you know, living our Dharma. Other people might call it purpose, but it's like, what are you as an individual supposed to create here on this earth? And I believe that we each have something unique that is supposed to come through us, and it's about getting quiet and asking that question, and keep asking, and having the faith that you will be guided. And it's not always like a big flash of like, oh, you know, neon lights, like you are supposed to do this. But the universe will guide you, you know, sometimes little guidance each day. Do this, talk to this person, you know, be on this podcast or whatever it is. And it's just listening to those little tweaks, and then the journey will unfold. Mm-hmm. But I have seen women kind of doing this marketing for years, and then they take a step back, they land in their power, and they start speaking from the heart, and suddenly their message is connecting and people are reaching out and they're getting clients. So that's why, for me, this is the first step. And again, a good mentor can really guide you with this. It is an internal process, but it's done, I think, better when Yes, we're having quiet time, we're having reflective time, but we've got the support and often the community as well. Like who you surround yourself with is so important. So that's my step number 1 that I wanted to share with you. And step number 2 is around getting laser focused. And here's what I mean by that. I see so many female entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs trying to do all the things. They're trying to be on every single social media platform, trying to be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They're putting out free content, creating new freebies every week, and I'm just exhausted looking at it. And despite all this action, they're not getting clients. So something is not working here. Well, here's what is not working, is that you're like an octopus on roller skates. So you're trying to do all the things and not mastering any of them, not getting traction in any of them. So I always say pick 2 client generating strategies only that work for you as an individual. And before this whole situation that we're in right now with coronavirus and everything, I used to say pick an offline one and an online one. Now, obviously, times have changed, so both of them need to be online right now, but that's fine too. So just pick 2 that suit your personality, that are natural for you. So for somebody, it might be, being on Facebook and doing Facebook Lives, or somebody else might choose like blogging, for example, or somebody else might say, well, speaking. So right now that would look like things like podcasts or, different things like that. But pick 2 only that you are going to commit to and master them, because there's a huge learning curve with each one, is what I found. So, for example, if you say, right, I'm going to pick YouTube and I am going to master that channel, there's a big learning curve with how to get successful on YouTube and how to do the SEO and how to really position your videos and send traffic and things like that. So each of these strategies has a big learning curve. So if you pick 2 and you narrow your focus, then absolutely you will start to get some traction with it. So that's step number 2. And step number 3 is dealing with our fear and doubt, because that absolutely takes us down every single time. So it's another mindset piece, but I think it's more than a mindset piece. I think it's who we're being. And I have a specific process for helping people deal with fear and doubt, because I don't know about you, but this is something I still deal with, on a weekly, if not daily basis. So it's really important for people to have a process so that they can recognize when the fear and the doubt is clouding them and overcoming them, because it is, I call it FUD, which I think is a advertising term, but it feels like being under all this FUD, and it kind of just envelops us and it's hard to get back out. So I give a process to that when I work with clients, but it's just having something to turn that around fast, because we all experience it, but it's to not get stuck there, right? And I always say, don't push your feelings down and try and paint positive pink paint over the top of them, because that doesn't work. So we have to honor our feelings, they have to pass through, but have a process and have the support so that you can move from that really quickly.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That sounds so brilliant, because in so many ways, as you're talking, I can actually almost put myself in there in every step, and I'm going, yep, done that.
Yeah, well, I think this has just come from my own entrepreneurial journey, and I was like, well, what were the steps? What were the key things that I needed to do that actually started me getting clients consistently and being able to bring on high-paying clients, and really kind of narrowed it down to these steps. And so the next one is nailing your message, because and this has to be, oh my gosh, so clear. People don't realize. So, I always get people to get absolutely crystal clear on their client avatar. Like absolutely know who you are talking to, like what they have for breakfast, what they drink, what they believe, what their biggest fears are, what their biggest desires are, what their biggest pain is that you can help them with. Because if you can get that specific in your marketing, and like, here's an example, maybe you say, grab your green juice in your journal and sit down in your Lululemon yoga pants because I've got something for you, right? Now, my person knows I'm talking to them because they're like, well, I drink green juice and I have a journal and I wear Lululemon, for example. And so it cuts through all the noise on social media, and they know you're talking to them. So absolutely getting clear on the client avatar, but also really speaking to the pain. So I know that sounds kind of a bit negative and a bit, people don't like it when I say that, but in order to stand out above the noise out there, we have to. People have very short attention span online. And so if they don't know real fast that we can help them with a specific problem, they're gone. So, and this is as well about getting really specific, because if we're too generic and we say something like, well, I help women to have a more balanced life and be happier. Well, like, what the hell does that mean? I mean, it's a nice thought, and I get it. It can be really hard to get specific. It's a process we all go through. And I've said things like that in the past. So, no judgment on anyone. But if we say that, like, what does that mean? And who is that talking to? We're all busy. We all want to be happy. And what the hell is balance anyway? So it's like, it's too generic. It doesn't connect. So what you have to do is speak to a very specific problem that your client is having. So like, I help people get high paying clients. Somebody else might help people who are having a horrible time in their relationship and are really stressed and upset about that. But you speak very specifically to the pain that the person is having, so that they can hear you and they know they need to come and work with you. So yeah, I find that it kind of really helps. And so that's a process, and it's getting the niche and the messaging, because you work with people, it's one of the toughest spots that people kind of go through, and really has them stuck, and has them posting all the time on social media and not getting any results.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the key pieces that has to be worked on, and it does help if you have someone who is ahead of you and can guide you and can pinpoint what's not working in your message. But speaking to the pain, getting really, really specific, and also highlighting the cost of staying stuck to the people that you're talking to. So, for my clients, just to give you an example, they're struggling to get clients. That's their big pain. The consequences of that are that they might not be bringing enough income in. And so, they are short on money, and they're going into lack, and they can't afford the things that they want to do. They might have family pressure telling them, well, just go back to your job, just go back and do your job. And they're starting to doubt themselves. And
yes.
That is a horrible feeling, when we start to doubt ourselves. And so then they're like, oh my God, like the internal talk is like, oh my God, maybe they're right, but they don't want to admit that. They do not want to admit that, but they're like, the worst thing would be to have to go back to a job, tail between the legs, a job that they hate and makes them fat and sick and unwell. And, I know, because I was there. So, they don't want to do that, but that's the cost of them staying stuck. And also, I know that when I was stuck for that year or whatever it was, not investing in myself, not getting a coach, I cost myself a lot of money, because I could have been earning so much more, so much faster. I literally left money on the table, continued struggling to pay off my debts, and which could have been paid off a lot quicker. But it's hard to see, but that's what I'm talking about demonstrating the cost of staying stuck. And that's what it is for my people. So if you can think about, I'm talking to your viewers now, if they can think about that in their own target market, what is the cost to their potential client of staying stuck, and really demonstrate that through all their marketing and the way they talk, it becomes a lot more powerful.
Yeah. And what I like about it is it works very well hand in hand with that kind of first step that you spoke about connecting with yourself. Because once you are connecting with who you are and you getting your message through, by pinpointing the problems that they are having and connecting with them as well, you will attract the people or the clients that are aligned with your energy, with who you are. And I love always saying this, because you and I might offer the same services, but people don't buy you because of your service. They buy because of who you are. And that's why I like the first step you've spoken about, connecting with yourself. But it walks very much hand in hand with, speaking to the pain points of your ideal clients, but also your messaging, because that comes through, that energy comes through as well towards those last steps.
Yeah, definitely. And, you're right. They buy you, but they also buy what they think you can get them. So, as long as you can show, I can get you this very specific result, then, if they are attracted to your energy, if you're the right coach for them, and you can demonstrate that you can help them get the specific result, it's all good. They will definitely want to work with you. And so here's what's been my experience, even during this really uncertain time we're in right now. People do still invest. People will still pay for coaching if they see the value. So if they see enough value and they believe that you can solve their problem. Now, of course, there's no guarantees, because we can't guarantee they're going to do the work, or, we're not God. But at the same time, we know our process works. And so if you can show enough value and you can clearly talk to them and demonstrate the pain that they're in, the cost of staying stuck, and that, yes, you can help them get this coveted desire that they want, all the clients, high-paying clients in their schedule, absolutely people will invest with you. So, and whoever's watching needs to take that example and obviously plug it into their own niche. But people will always find the money to invest in the things that they really want and the things that they believe will get them there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you've put it so beautifully. And I hope for all of you listening and watching this video, you're making a lot of notes, because what Julie is saying is true in more ways than one, because I can completely relate to it. I almost feel like sometimes you're telling my story, my success story, as you're talking through, because every time you're saying something, I'm like, yep, been there. Yep, felt like that. But it just shows as well, because the story that you're sharing, but also what you're highlighting, because we're so similar in what we do, that's exactly what I've experienced and what I've gone through. So if I was your ideal client, I would go like, oh my gosh, Julie, help me out. I'm stuck. I'm now at this stage. I feel what you were saying. This is where I am. But that just shows you how powerful it is when you get that messaging right, and just following these 5 steps.
Yeah, and there is one more step which I missed. Yeah, absolutely. And of course the mindset piece does come into it. So we spoke about that at the beginning, but you have to believe you can as well. And this was one that I really struggled with for the longest time. But and I still work on it today. But it's ongoing work. And I always say to people, you don't have to have your beliefs perfect. That actually held me back. I used to think, oh my God, I've got a negative belief, like no one's going to work with me because I have this little, and it isn't like that. It's like, no, you can have your stuff and still get clients, and yes, work on your mindset, but it only takes a chink of light, I find. And then, you can still get rocking and rolling and get into momentum. But let me share the 5th step with you, which is issuing powerful invitations. So yeah, because what I see again a lot of women doing is they post this amazing post on social media, tell a really good story, and because we all hopefully know that we need to be telling stories that are relevant to our people, but they tell this amazing story, they put out this brilliant free content, and then they don't issue an invitation. So some people call it a call to action. I prefer the word invitation. So you have to be doing this, and people don't realize, they think, oh, it's obvious, like I'm a business coach and here I am posting some, valuable content. It's obvious I want people to come and work with me. No, it isn't. It's not obvious. The amount of times that I've been to a website, and maybe so have you, and consumed some content and been like, wow, that's amazing. But there was no next step, nothing to tell me, did you like this? Come and take my free training, or book a call to talk to me here. That wasn't there. And so we just go off, and then we get busy in life and we don't do anything. It's not our potential client's job to be hunting around trying to figure out how to get in contact with us. We have to make it as easy as possible. We have to remove the barriers. And so that looks like, if you're doing a Facebook Live, then you just say, if you're struggling to get all the clients you need, go to my website, click on the button and book a call with me. It has to be that clear, and people don't realize it's not being pushy, it's being clear, and it's our responsibility to do it, because if we don't, people just don't realize, and they disappear off, and you don't want that after all the hard work you've done of your marketing. So be sure to issue powerful invitations. Tell them why they need to do that. This comes back to the pain. Like, if you want to get out of this pain, here's your next step. And then tell them what to do. Tell them where to go next. What is the next step? And you want to bring people in as quickly as possible. But I just think that's so important. And I see people not doing it enough. So, I've been there for sure. And my coach caught me on this, a year or so ago. I thought I was issuing invitations. I wasn't. So, we have to be doing it way more than is comfortable, on a regular basis. I do it on the end of all my Facebook Lives now.
Yeah. No, it's incredible to hear you say that as well, because I always say to my clients that in the online world, okay, let's go back one step. In real life, people don't like being told what to do. In the online world, people want to be told what to do. They want to know what the next steps are. And it's not because you're being pushy. And that's also a mindset thing about, you don't want to issue those invitations because it's a mindset thing. You're thinking, oh, maybe I'm a bit too pushy. That is not the case. You've got to get over that mindset, because what you're doing is you're not being pushy, you're helping. And by leading them to take that micro action, or to click on a link, or to click on a button, that's really you just helping them taking the next step, in order to take them through a process of where they are now to where they want to be. So I used to do that a lot as well. And up until I realized that, oh my gosh, I need to do that more often. And now on my website, I've got steps there which people can take. And also, I'm not putting 10 steps out there for them. It's only one specific step, because if you put out too many steps, they get confused. They don't know where they're going. And then they take no action anyway. So just give them one action at a time, and make sure that whatever action they are taking, it is worth their while, and they are going to have the benefit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've nailed it. I mean, it has got to be just the next step, as you say. And I love what you said about online. You need to tell people what to do. You're actually helping. I hadn't heard that before, but it's so, so true. It's like, yes, in the real world, we wouldn't do that. But online, you have to, and people want it. It's the service. And how can you help them if they don't come and work with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that is something that, particularly talk about the mindset, when I started as a coach, that I really struggled with, because you might be, for those of you listening, you might be now at a stage where you're going, well, how do I know what they need? Well, this is the best part, because if you already have an audience, if you already have a following, you can just go and ask them.
Yeah,
just ask them what their
totally.
pain points are. And then whatever their pain points are, give them something or create something that they will then use, and then go and give it to them. And then make sure that that's the call to action at the end. Ask them to sign up for it, or ask them to download whatever it is you have to give. And once they know that you've got a solution to whatever problems they have, oh my gosh, you're really going to start building a connection, and they're going to get attracted to you and what you're doing for them.
Totally. Yeah, it's been my experience too. And, I always encourage the people I work with to go and do some market research and actually get that information from the horse's mouth, because we can guess and we get it wrong. So it's better to actually ask and hear it, that way. And even just the languaging people use to talk about their problems. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that language is so important. That's something that took me a long time to understand. As soon as I started putting a survey out and started asking my audience what they were struggling with, then getting their words back, getting the way they are experiencing and telling about their experience of what they're struggling with. When I realized that I could actually literally just copy and paste their words and use it, it is just, yeah, it really made a huge difference, because then I was not in my own head thinking how they are experiencing it. I was actually getting the facts right there and using that in order to go again, like you said, and putting that message out there, talking about their pain points. It immediately just showed the difference that I was getting back then from the relationship and the connections I was making with my audience. So yeah, very powerful. Oh my gosh, I love this conversation.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking that actually. I really hope I think it's going to be very valuable for the people who listen and watch. But yeah, it is. I always say, don't complicate it. Just use the language that they give you, right? Let's not guess at this, because we don't have to.
No.
So.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Julie, I really, really enjoyed this conversation with you so much. Before we conclude with everything, you've got amazing free training for the audience. Why don't you talk about that? And for those of you listening, we will have the link to this free training for you below in the show notes. But Julie, why don't you just talk to us a little bit about the free training you're offering?
Yeah, sure. So this is the Thrive Formula, and it's free training, as you said, completely free, super valuable. It's about how to get all the high-paying clients you need whenever you want them. And so I will literally be taking you through the steps and giving you the formula to do that. And so they can get that by going to my website, dobusinesslikeawoman.com, and they'll be able to sign up there. There'll be a nice big button. It will be obvious. It's just a short recorded training, but it's absolutely going to take you through the steps. So if you're struggling to get clients, if you're not being consistent with that, you're struggling to bring in high paying clients, to nail your messaging, you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't know where to focus, you don't know what to work on when you sit down, this is going to solve all that for you. So no more posting loads and loads of free content, no more being all over social media with no results or very little results. This is going to cut through all that and just show you how to get those clients so that you're not struggling and you can have the income coming in. So yeah, go over to the website and grab that.
Amazing. And thank you so much for making that available to the audience. I think it's really phenomenal that you're providing that, because so many of them are now listening to this and going, yes, I want more clients. How do I do that? And here's the solution. Just go and sign up for the free training. Julie, thank you so much again for being here with us. Just sharing your knowledge, your level of expertise with everyone. I've got some great tips for you from you as well. So it just shows, always learning. There's no stopping at that. But I really appreciate your time for being here with us. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great conversation. I have really enjoyed it. I feel like I've learned a lot just from talking to you as well. You're an amazing person. I really appreciate what you do with the podcast and all the value you bring. So thank you for having me.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch fairly soon.